The Story of Fortnite. So, this is our main character, Jonesy. And believe it or not, you may know him as the main character from Fortnite, and he's been there since the start. But what if I were to tell you the dark truth of the real story? So yes, this is Jonesy. But what if I were to tell you that Jonesy was a real kid in the real world? So one cold night, Jonesy is awake and he feels like playing video games that night. It's not that late. He goes to bed at about 10 and it's actually about 7 o'clock. So he has time to play a few video games before he goes to bed, which is nice. So he goes to his game section to pick what game he should play. But then he sees a new game there called Fortnite. And it's completely free. So he's like, you know what? This game's free and it's new. So I'm going to give it a play. So he goes to play Fortnite. But what happens next? Well, I'm about to tell you. So he gets teleported into the game. So he goes from being on Earth to being stuck in Fortnite. Yes, you heard me right. Almost like it's straight out of Jumanji. Now, once he's in the game, he gets spoken to by a random voice. He does not know where this thing is or who this thing is. And it's such a mystery. He can't tell if it's a man or a woman or if it's a animal of any type. It just has a really distinct voice. You just don't know what it is. And you may ask, well, what does this voice say to him? And I'm literally about to tell you. The voice says to him to get a number 1 victory royale. And if he gets a victory royale, he can escape the game. But here's the thing. As we all know, Jonesy is still in this game. Well, today he is anyway. So that means he couldn't get one. Which is really sad because the game has been out for 7 whole years and he still hasn't managed to get a victory royale. And here's where things get sad. Now his parents, 7 years later, well, they've known for ages that their son is missing, but this is when they start to get really worried. They've called the police multiple times before and they haven't found their son. But it's been 7 whole years, so this trauma is still upon them. So they call the police for probably one of the last times until they just have to give up. So the police show up and they search for him for absolutely ages. They look around the whole city and he's not to be found. They even look around other cities, not to be found. So unfortunately, this leads up to no, sorry, we haven't found your son, which is just really sad. So this goes on the news, and the news is that there's a missing boy. And on the news, they actually show the picture of Jonesy. They show what he looks like, because his parents talked to the news about it and they gave the news a photo of Jonesy so then anyone watching maybe can identify him and maybe find him. And this kid plays Fortnite. He's just a normal kid and his name is Greg. Now Greg actually watched the news and he saw that there was a missing boy called Jonesy. Now, Greg, for some reason, recognises Jonesy, not just from the news, but he feels like he actually recognises him. And then he checks the item shop. Now, in the item shop, They are selling Jonesy for 800 V-Bucks. And his photo, his picture in the shop looks exactly like his picture in the news. And Greg is like, wait a minute, that's the same exact kid. Now at first Greg just thinks that, it's just a random skin called Jonesy that actually looks like Jonesy on the news. It's just a really big coincidence. That's what he thinks. But then he thinks Jonesy has been missing for 7 years. And Fortnite has been out for around 7 years. So he starts to link it up. And although he still thinks this sounds a little bit crazy, but he actually starts to think that Jonesy did get stuck inside of the game. But unfortunately, it's a bad ending. And till this day, they haven't got Jonesy out of the game. All he has to do is get a victory royale. But I guess sometimes it's just too hard to do these things. But maybe one day he will get a victory royale and finally escape Fortnite. But now our legend Jonesy has flew high in the sky and he is now the face of Fortnite.